Welcome, everyone, to the live weekend preview show with myself, Steve Wiss, and I'm joined by Ashley Waite here on All Angle Sports Investment. Looking ahead to, like I say, Saturday and Sunday. We've got a few plays for you, especially on Saturday. How was your week overall, Ashley, would you say?
Betting wise or what?
Just overall, live, betting, whatever.
Yeah, it's been okay. Just the typical week betting every single day. So can't complain. Pretty decent. How about yours?
Not too bad. I was very pleased to hit a goal scorer today in Norway. Akor Adams, 93rd minute. Keep telling you it's the best way to win a bet in the 93rd minute.
You do keep telling me that, but I have enough heart problems as it is. But yeah, that's awesome. I love seeing you branch out into the goal scorer market now too. So that makes me so happy and
I
proud.
didn't really deserve it. There was only 2 shots on target in the whole match from both teams combined. It deserved to end 0-0, really. But I'll take it. I'll take it. He had one chance and he took it. That's all he needed. So,
Oh yeah. When you get those sharpshooters, that's all
yeah.
you need. So nice.
So I was pleased with that. The Lons match served me well in running with the cards. I know you won that on yourself, which was a great win for Lons, really, to be fair to them. The fight in that, if the team you supported showed the fight that Lons showed tonight, you would be proud of them, whatever the result.
Right.
Like, genuinely. So yeah, it was quite a good Friday for me. Thursday was a little bit annoyed with the referee in the Fiorentina game. I don't know what the hell he was doing there, but at least Sevilla came in for me there. But Europa, it's just not been my year in Europa League. It's just one of those years for me in that competition. You just accept it and move on, really.
Yeah, and it's funny because, like we were talking about it, I typically find more value in Europa than I do in Champions League. I did hit the over in Fiorentina somehow, so thankfully Basel scored that late goal. But yeah, I gave out. I had the flip flop of the double. I had Fiorentina's team total and West Ham draw no bet, and Fiorentina. Yeah, and just had it flipped around. I expected more from them at home, so I did hit the over, but busted on their team total. But still, yeah, with Europa, I still like it. I tend to favor that a little bit over Champions League. I think it's a little bit easier to bet, but this round was pretty drab, yeah, especially like the first half in most of these. But I completely agree with what you're saying, like cards wise. I was paying attention to that. I would actually watch the entire Fiorentina match, which I rarely do. But my God, and that Amrabat.
Amrabat should have been booked after 5 minutes.
Yes, he should have. He should have been booked a couple of times. So I don't know how that was just bad luck. But yeah, that there should have been quite a few cards in that first half, and that was an extremely lenient ref there. So I think whatever you hit Sevilla, they got a bunch of them late, but you should have absolutely nailed that Amrabat. I don't know how the hell that guy didn't get carded.
I think there was a UEFA directive this week to referees saying don't let the first halves contain that many cards, because it was a theme throughout the whole Champions League. Even in the Euro, there was a lot of cards in the second half in most matches on Thursday. Mm-hmm. So I think referees were just mindful just to let play go a bit more, which is frustrating. I mean, that referee, the first time in 10 games he hadn't issued a first half card. First time, I think, in 15 games that he hadn't issued a card to both teams, because Fiorentina actually avoided a card, incredibly, I think, until... Anyway, we move on to the weekend. Hello, Hannah. Hello to one of my favorite persons as well. So welcome into the show. She's all right. Right, we've got plenty to discuss. We've got plenty of plays for you that we're going to advise for the weekend coming in. We're starting in Australia. We're still clutching to this league. It still exists. We're going to Adelaide against Central Coast Mariners. This is, I do believe, the second leg. I think, was it 1-1 the first leg? I can't remember exactly. But you've got some goal scorer picks for us here. Take us through these.
Sure do. These are odd. I'm, like you said, this league's still holding on. I'm sad to see it go. I've been loving betting goals. That's been a wagon bet in this entire league. And these goal scorers, you guys know, just been money makers for us. So definitely sad to see it go. So I'm going to try to hit it every time until it's gone. So what we're going to do is we're going to split a unit here, and then I'll talk about that double, that big price at the end after. So we have, this is the same match. This is late tonight for me, early tomorrow for most of you. Craig Goodwin, we are going to take like we do to score anytime. And he's at plus 188. That's actually on a couple of different books. And we're going to take Jason Cummings. We're going to take a half a unit on each of these guys. They are both plus 188. Fantastic value. It's odd that a lot of these Aussie playoffs are low scoring for this to be such a high flying league, but I still think that we see goals here. So instead of going for, a both team to score and over, I figure if I think we see goals, why not go for the big plus money on who I expect to score them? So we're going to bust our unit up between these two guys. I think we've got a good shot of hitting at least one, hopefully both of those. And then we are going to take both of them and just put a quarter of a unit, so nothing crazy. And we are going to parlay both of these guys at a nice big plus 730. There's a sprinkle. I think there's value on that, and I'll make it a little bit more interesting. So that is the way that I'm going to be playing that match.
Yeah, I must apologize there. It's actually the first leg. The second leg of this fixture is next week. So... I don't think away goals count in the A League. So, but a reason why these playoffs might just the goals might not be as high yet is because playoffs just bring more tension, pressure. Teams are feeling each other out. They don't want to lose. I mean, look at tonight in the League One playoffs. Peterborough beat Sheffield Wednesday 4-0. I mean, that's the biggest fear, that you lose the first leg so big you're basically out of the tie. Right. So, but. At the end of the day, both these two are really attack-minded. Just a few comments to catch up on here. Maninda Priha, first time catching live, enjoying the shows. He enjoyed the Sevilla pick. Good job. That was about the only fucking winner I gave on Europa. Appreciate you coming in, Maninda, very much. Sonny, welcome in. How you doing?
Up, Sonny?
How's it going, Sonny? Hope you are well. These Australian bets have served the show very well. This hopefully this can cash here and we can take the same pick next week as well.
I'm hoping so, because I'm riding this wagon and this bike till the wheels fall off. I'm going to be so sad when I can't bet these guys. So loving that. And speaking of cards, what's funny for any of you guys that pay attention to Serie A, I was looking. I was so close to posting on Patreon at a huge price for Adrian Rabiot to be carded first. He gets carded first so many times, and do you know that son of a bitch got carded first? I'm just not a cards better, so I didn't want to throw something random in there. When I saw his name pop up, I was so pissed off about that I didn't take a shot at it. Yeah, Sonny, tricky week so far. It has been tricky, kind of like break even for me, then win a little. But I'm up for the week, which is, if you can pull that off, that's always a positive in this business, right? So exactly. Good. The weekend looks good. So let's hope we can all close out the week really strong and have us a great weekend.
I am going to the Obos again for my first pick. Now, there's a lot of Norwegian football coming up this week. We've got a full round of fixtures in both Eliteserien and Obos on Saturday, because there's a full round on Tuesday. On the 16th of May, it's a massive day of football for them up there. It's like their national day. So whatever, May the 16th, whatever day it is, every year they have a full round of fixtures. So a lot of football coming up for Norway. And I like the goals here. Sheed against Start. Someone came on, I think it was DM Punk, who gave us the correct pronunciation for this team.
I think it was Shide.
Shite. I hope it's not shite.
We'll just call them Shide. We'll call them Shide if they lose. We'll call them Shide for now.
Over 3 goals, and this league is just starting to bubble up now. There's look out for the metrics here, Ashley. Apart from, there's only one team, Fredrikstad, which are incredibly low scoring, but most of the other teams are starting to score goals now. And Start, they've been involved in. I mean, their last 4 games have all contained 4 goals or more. So nice. They are one of the top teams in this league. They're expected to challenge for promotion. Themselves and Kristiansund, who actually drew today. I fancied them to win. They couldn't even beat 10 men. But this should be an open game. The most recent game for Sheed was a 0-0 draw against Fredrikstad, but we can ignore that because Fredrikstad are like the unique team of this league right now. Before that, they were, a 2-2 draw, a 3-2 loss. They had that shock 4-0 win. Last time I mentioned them on the show, I got embarrassed, didn't I? They did in for me when they beat the team I tipped 4-0. So hopefully, I don't mind if they win 4-0 here.
Exactly, and there's never anything to be embarrassed about with these schizophrenic players, right? You just cap the numbers and then they get out on the pitch and do what they do, and sometimes it's a clown show out there. So yeah, but maybe get the same scoreline here, then
over 3 goals at -105. I mean, you can take what you like here, really. Both teams to score an over, both teams to score in a double, whatever. Over
take the Ashley Classic of the over 2.75,
Well, yeah, that, whatever. There's a few plays I like in this league, actually. So I just thought I'd give the best one, and that is in this fixture. I just answered this question now from Sonny about the match in France. Yeah, I at the minute, I'm not have time to keep up with the French league, simply because I've had to focus on leagues which are more profitable with more goals in them. So, I'm hoping to get back on track with that league in the summer. But Saint Etienne are a very good side, and I'd imagine next season they will challenge for promotion. They've done well to get themselves out of trouble. Laval, the last time I looked at Laval, they had about 4 or 5 players on the season-ending injury list, which has been a big problem for them. So, I can't really give an opinion about that BTTS there. So
I kind of like it for what it's worth, but I don't really play that. And it's interesting that Sonny brought it up because I think it's Laval their last match. Didn't they win 1-0? I was looking at that and it was really, really strong supported them to win and under 2.5 at plus money. And I didn't play it. But I agree. Saint Etienne, I think they score a couple on their own. But listen to Steve on that one because he's the France expert. So Punk, you're living in Canada temporarily. So you must be heading to Hawaii soon so we can party it up over here. I like it.
Did you know Canada?
No. No, nothing about Canada, so my answer is no.
Is King Charles, the recently crowned King Charles III, is the monarch of Canada. He has like some sort of sovereignty over Canada. He's the monarch of more countries than just the United Kingdom. I was reading this last week. Something like that.
Well, good for him.
Not that you really want to know that, but I will produce certain tidbits of
wisdom,
useless information, just to set the show going. But I'm sure.
And I think Punk was that you, Punk, that was like talking about the woodpecker or something. I figured out what it was on the last show when it was hearing that tapping sound. It was this little ball right here was hanging on my mic, and so that's why I couldn't hear it. So hopefully you guys don't hear any of that.
We're gonna stay in Norway. Buddha Glimt.
Do you like that he just breezes over everything I say? That's just like random conversation. Such a dick.
I was just focusing. I sometimes get a bit of tunnel vision, Ashley.
Okay.
I apologize for that sometimes. But now this pick actually is not my pick. This is Ashley's selection.
Well, of course it's not your pick. Anyone can look at this and tell us, this is me all over
it. Anyway, so you get this one. I've not got an Eliteserien pick for us on this show. It's all Ashley. Buddha Glimt against Rosenborg, quite a big game. And you're liking Amahl Pellegrino anytime scorer in addition to Buddha Glimt winning a match.
Yeah, so I like Bodo here. I was looking at maybe taking their team total or something, but I'm just going to say that they win outright. They're at home here, and Pellegrino is just a scorer that I love. If you guys don't want to complicate it, I think you can find him. The best price I saw was like -125, I believe. I don't think that's horrible for the consistency in which he scores goals, but since I do think Bodo win, I just thought, I'll just combine that with a heavy money line price to get us to plus money. But I wouldn't fault anyone for just taking him to score at -120, -125. I just think at plus money, I do like them to win, like I said. And that guy I love taking as a goal scorer. Unfortunately, I guess a lot of people do because his price just keeps getting worse and worse. But I think there's great value here on both of these plays, them to win and him to score.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at the price for Buda Glimt is minus 300 just to win the game.
Yeah.
Which is a remarkable turn of events. If you'd said to me 3-4 years ago, they would be minus 300 to beat Rosenborg at home in round 6 of the season, I would have said, what planet are you on? What planet have you come from? Because this just shows you how Norwegian football has changed. Rosenborg with the big dog. Rosenborg are not playing good football at all. So it's very hard to make any case for Rosenborg. And Pellegrino, I gambled actually this week in the Norwegian fantasy game, and I've not included him in my squad. Pellegrino, he's too expensive, basically.
I was like, don't tell me he's hurt or something weird. You should have told me that for my pick.
Well, I had to choose between him and Magnus Wolf Eikram at Molde, but I think Wolf Eikram could potentially go berserk against Strømsgodset. So I had to choose one of the two. But I think Pellegrino will score. He's so good at home. Hopefully he only gets one goal for the sake of my fantasy rank. But
I like that motivate you're talking about. I started to break that one down and have that as a show pick. So yeah, that'll definitely be going as a premium for me. And in some way, I might toss that guy you just mentioned in there.
I think
this is my Norwegian pick. They've been driving me nuts in that league with totals and everything. So yeah, I'm just gonna take more of a my type bet here and swing for the plus money like I love to do.
We'll switch to Sweden now. I've got a couple of plays in Sweden for this round. We'll start with the Hacken against Degerfors, and this is the sort of match. In a way, I was disappointed with the odds on the game. I wanted to take over 3 goals here, but the goal line is actually 3.5. So that frustrated me. And then I was looking at Hacken's team total. I was like, go on, I'll take over 2.5 team total. But it's something like minus 165.
For over 2.5?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. So I'm like, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
And then I looked at the Asian line, which I thought, I bet the Asian line's minus 2.25, minus 2.5. It's actually only minus 2. So this actually looks a lot more manageable because Degerfors I watched them get absolutely battered by IFK Gothenburg in their last away match 6-0. I actually have an IFK scarf now. My friend from the Nordic Football Podcast was out there last week and he bought me one. He surprised me by sending it to me. So I've got an IFK scarf.
Well, you need to be sure that you burn that before this Hacken match.
Why is that?
Because you don't want to be having paraphernalia for the enemy when you're picking the other side.
Oh, well, I'm not bothered about that. This is professional betting. But, I'm not talking about Gothenburg game today. But, Hacken, they should batter them. Degerfors are terrible defensively. And, very worst should win 2-0. I mean, minus 2 Asian handicap, the good thing is it does cover the 2-0 exact score, doesn't it? Just in case... but I'm thinking this could be 3 or 4, maybe more. Like Hacken had just lost the game. They're playing Malmo next week, so they're going to want to keep within 6 points of them, aren't they? So I think they'll get a very convincing victory. Degerfors have lost 5 out of 7 games. They've got the worst defensive record in the Allsvenskan. I've watched them play. Their style's quite aggressive. They don't really ever tend to sit back and stuff. So they're going to they'll come here and try and fight fire with fire. It wouldn't shock me if they scored a goal, actually, Degerfors. That's why I did initially like the overs. But it could be, 4-1, 5-1 sort of thing if they do score. So, I think the Asian line is better than I expected, but the goal line was worse than I hoped for. So, I think they're a banker play if you want to put them in a double or treble or whatever. On the money line, I think they're minus 500, minus 435. They're not the worst price to put in accumulators, are they? So,
well, I'm not I'm not huge on Sweden right now, but there are 2 teams that I plan on betting pretty consistently here going forward, and I love taking Hacken's team total and throwing that in a double, and Elfsborg also. So yeah, what I'll be doing with Hacken is probably tailing this one, but also I'm going to do me like a 5 or 6 legger of just team totals over 1.5. And definitely be throwing them and Elfsborg in there, probably with like Bodo and Dortmund and who the hell knows. But yeah, love this Hacken team. So hopefully the worst that does is push.
You just mentioned Elfsborg. We might as well stay with Allsvenskan while we're at it. And my second pick from Allsvenskan is Elfsborg against Varnamo, over 2.75 goals. One of your favourite goal lines here, Ashley. So one out of your textbook. And Elfsborg are just, I mean, they can cover this goal line themselves, actually. They're scoring so many goals recently. They've scored 10 goals in the last 2 games.
Yep.
And they've won their last 5 there. And they've got a nice opponent here. Varnamo, we actually won with them in midweek. I posted... Yeah, it was on the live show, wasn't it? And we were talking about that game a lot, weren't we? How wild it was with the metrics, how open it was.
Yeah, the one where you were expecting the low scoring,
yeah,
3-1. Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, and what I took from that game is actually Varnamo defensively do have vulnerability, and they've only kept a couple of clean sheets this season. I think they're going to struggle. I think Elfsborg will do quite a strong job on them, to be honest with you, Ashley. But Elfsborg themselves have only kept 1 clean sheet in their last 4. Even when they battered Halmstad, they did concede a goal. There's nothing worse, is there, if you're on like a team to win to 0 and they go 5-0 up and then concede a goal.
That's why you rarely, if ever, see me take that. All that takes is a stupid penalty or a team, like you said, being up big and losing concentration. So I'm not a clean sheet better.
No, it's, as I say, there's a chance that Varnamo might be able to contribute to this goal line. So with that in mind, with Elfsborg scoring so many goals themselves, I like the over rather than the Elfsborg handicap in the game. You could also look at team total over 1.5. I don't know what it pays, but it would be not a bad price, I don't think, for Elfsborg over 1.5 team total goals. It looks fairly safe. For the game, we're going to now switch our attention to a double that you've got, Ashley, in Switzerland and EPL double here. Grasshoppers against Luzern, Southampton against Fulham, over 2 goals double. That's an Asian line at -120.
Right. So with the Grasshoppers and Luzern, these are 2 matches that I actually like. Both of these as singles. So I like the Grasshoppers and Luzern over 2.75. Southampton Fulham is actually a really good price. I think -115 right now for over just 2.5. And I really do like that over. So with Fulham and Southampton. So Southampton are at home here, and they have no choice but to go for it. Every match that they have remaining. And I know a lot of people have said recently about Fulham, that typical phrase that people like to use, right? That, I mean, they're safe, so they're already on the beach, but that's not how they're playing. It's not how they played their last several matches, and I don't think that they'll play like that here either. I think instead of them playing like they're on the beach, they're playing just stress-free. You're just trying to score goals, right? There's no pressure on their shoulders, so I like goals in that one. If you don't like combining things, I think that's a great price to take over 2.5 in Fulham. But I am going to combine it here with the more conservative route. You guys know how I like my doubles. I'm going to combine that with the Swiss match of my Grasshoppers that I love versus Luzern. I like goals in that one. But we're also just going to take over 2 in that. And I think at a -120, I think the worst that either of these will do is push. But I've already explained Southampton. That's pretty straightforward. With Grasshoppers, so they're at home here. They're scoring 1.94 at home, and Luzern, they're scoring 1.63. And now both of these, what I also like is not only their scoring, but each of them concedes over 1.5 in their home and away splits here. So I like both teams to score in it. I like it to go over. I think the over 2 is a pretty safe route. And this rate's at a 74% to go over 2.5. So just all the numbers point to. I think this is a pretty as safe as it gets. Nothing safe at betting, but I really like this one at -120.
And remember, if you are taking this double, then it is the over 2 Asian line.
Yes.
So if there is 2 goals in any of these games, exactly, you will get a push on that part. You might even end up with a double push. Who knows? But that is right. That's the bet there. Southampton have to win, otherwise they're relegated. Right. Even a win might see them go down. But I looked at this out. Interesting with Fulham, they have really defied belief recently because they lost a lot of games in a row, and I was thinking, will they get another win the rest of the season? But the last 6 fixtures, they have covered their Asian handicap line, the main Asian line in each match.
Yeah.
Even when they've lost games, they've covered their plus handicap. And I don't know, they haven't been on the beach, and it defies logic. But fair play to them. Some teams play really hard, and I could see happen here. Like Southampton get desperate, they have to win, and Fulham pick them off at the other end. Right. On the counter attack or something. So it looks a good over, that one, I must say.
Right.
Ashley. Marcel is asking, oh dear, have I just seen the question?
Ooh, that's a loaded question, Marcel. I'm just going to sit back and listen to this one because, that's Steve's team. So his passion's about to come flying out.
How long have we got? I mean,
I'm going to take my earphones off and go fix me a drink.
The way I see the relegation battle, it's I think Southampton are gone. I actually am very fearful for Leicester City now because Leicester have got to play Liverpool and then Newcastle in the next 2 games. So Leicester have by far the best squad of the bottom 5, but incredibly they might actually go down, which is unbelievable. And I actually think the final spot is between Leeds, Everton, and Nottingham Forest. And look, Leeds have games against West Ham, who might be thinking of a Europa final. But that's a winnable game for Leeds, and they got Spurs last game. Leeds against Newcastle, Saturday lunchtime kickoff. I think that's going to be a low-scoring game, actually. I think Leeds, it's horrible to say it, but I think Leeds is going to park the bus and try and time waste and be negative under Sam Allardyce. This is disgusting, really, compared to where we were under the Bielsa era. But I think that's how I think Leeds will play for a draw against Newcastle. The ball's not hardly going to be in play for less than 40 minutes in that game because Newcastle are the biggest time-wasting team in the Premier League as well. So if I had to stick a score, I think probably Newcastle by 1 goal. Maybe one moment of Isak brilliance. That could be the difference between the 2 teams there. How confident am I in Leeds staying up? I'm not confident. But look, if Forest and Everton somehow lose games, then you never know, do you? But yeah, if at this point in time, I think the bottom 3 stays the bottom 3. Sad to say.
Oh, then like Sonny said too, you guys are heads up on this one, so I'm gonna have to steer clear of both of you if some crazy shit goes down in this match. So Sonny's the Newcastle supporter. He was at the last match. You're the Leeds guy, so you guys are going heads up, battling it out in this one.
Yeah, I think it's.
I can see Leeds scoring though. I may sprinkle a little on like Newcastle to win. Don't shoot me, and both teams to score. But I wouldn't be surprised to see like a 2-1, 3-1.
I think 2-1 Newcastle is probably the most likely score, because but the manager of Leeds has said if Leeds fall behind, they're just going to keep being defensive and try and stay in the game rather than open up and take stupid until the end. So. Yeah, go on then. Which 3 teams? Who are you going? Which 3 teams are getting relegated from the EPL?
I don't know. I mean, I've actually been taking Nottingham Forest lately. When they're at home, they're tough to beat. They might not win outright, but yeah, I don't pay enough attention to the EPL to have anything of value to offer to that. I'm just going to be pulling for your Leeds to not get relegated. I would not be surprised at all to see Southampton go down. I think Fulham probably will take that one from them tomorrow, but you never know. I mean, all I care about is seeing goals. I don't pay attention really much to who's getting relegated. I just look at betting each match as they come my way.
Yeah, exactly that. Newcastle double chance under 3.5 could be worth a go there, Marcel. I must say the tackles market isn't something I've never looked at, Sonny, myself. I know some people who do bet on it though, and the markets available now to bet on are incredible. Like you can bet on fucking anything you want in big games, actually, big TV games. It's remarkable these days. 10 years ago, if you had said the markets you could bet on, you would have said, "Wow, it's changed a lot." As the betting angle. Where was we? Right, we was on your double, weren't we?
And Marcel brings up a good point about Newcastle too. So Newcastle double chance and under 3.5 at -120. That's a great price for getting Newcastle just to avoid defeat and not having 4 goals. I think that's a pretty good look.
So we've got a couple of plays left each on the show. We'll do the Belgian one because that's a Saturday game here. We've got Cercle Bruges against Ghent. It's very straightforward pick from you, this one, Ashley.
Crazy.
Over 2.5 goals. Simple as that.
No, isn't that weird? Like no goal scorer, no double, no nothing crazy thrown in there.
Unlike you, isn't it?
It is. Sometimes I just have to be straightforward. So with this one, I'll throw some numbers at you guys as to why I like it. It's a league that I pay attention to. I like these 2 teams for goals anyway. So this one just kind of stuck out to me as I was running down the slate. So as far as head-to-head numbers, 4 of the last 5 have gone over this total. I really expected this to be more for the 2.75 to be the more bettable range. And I kind of think it might be before it kicks off. So if you are going to bet it, I bet it sooner rather than later. But yeah, so 4 of the last 5 head-to-head have gone over. Bruges are at home here. They average 1.83 scored, and Ghent are scoring a little over 2, so 2.11 on the road. And another thing that I like about it, when I want goals, I want teams that can score, but I also want teams that concede. And both of these in home and away splits concede a little bit over 1 goal per match. So, yeah, I think that there's a very, very good chance both of these teams contribute to the total. And I fully expect one of them to score one more time to get us that 3. I really would be surprised to see even like a 2-2 score line. But one of the rare times that I like an over 2.5. I just think all the numbers support it, and I've already played this one myself. So let's hope to see some goals in Belgium. I think that's a good price for needing 3 goals to get you a full cash.
A Gift Orban, maybe could he be a scorer here in this game? Do you think? I don't know what price he is, but I mean,
I want to say he was like a good price, like plus 170. But I also like Hugo Kuipers. It's never bad to take him. I think they're around the same price. So yeah, I probably would sprinkle both of those fellas.
Yeah, I can't really add any more here. It's not a league I ever bet on much or even watch. So, but yeah, Gift Orban is a player that does very much interest me. I think he's the next Victor Osimhen, really.
And at that price, he is definitely great value at that price.
Not liking the Belgium league structure. I've not looked into it, Marcel, but I'm guessing it sounds bloody complicated. I don't even know how they do it. I'm just looking now. And it does look a little bit weird, doesn't it?
I have no idea. Like I said, I don't pay attention to shit like that. I look at the teams I know, the numbers, and I'm a metrics person. So, yeah, I think they score and concede enough to hopefully get us up and over that total. That's all I care about.
Right, we're going to finish with a game on Sunday, and we're going into France. Rennes against Troyes. And I've got a few interesting plays for this game. And for those who listen to the Bet Rivers podcast I do with James Easton. You're probably aware of some of these players already. It's actually an interesting list. James, especially on that show this week, goes into detail about Troyes. But this is some of my favourite bets of the season, Ashley. It simply has to be on because I think there's a huge chance that this could be an absolute battering, a complete shellacking for Rennes. I think if this ended 6 or 7-0, I wouldn't honestly be surprised because Troyes are an absolute shambles of a team. They are fucking shambles. Like, since they hired their manager, Patrick Kisnorbo, who was the manager of the Melbourne City in A-League, I mean, they're winless in 17 games. The goals that they concede are unbelievable. There was this ridiculous stat that I looked at. In the last 5 games, they have faced 120 shots.
Wow.
Right. I mean, that's...
Well, you know how I'm leaning now. You got my attention. I'm going to be looking for player shots all over the place in that one.
Astronomical amount of shots, right? And the thing is, Rennes, they're in the battle to try and get 5th place. Goal difference is very close between themselves, Lille and Lyon. I think there's literally 1 or 2 in it. So if they could get a big win here, it would really help their cause to get into Europe. And Rennes actually have the second best home record in France in Ligue 1. 8 times this season they've scored 3 or more goals at home. Last year, I mean, they're a team that are known for giving out some severe beatings from time to time. They don't, when they're in the mood, they don't stop. And I've got a feeling they could put them completely to the sword here, Troyes, because I think Troyes have given up. They're a shambles defensively. The last few, I mean, the PSG game last week, I think PSG could have scored 9 or 10. Genuinely should have scored 9 or 10 goals.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it was incredible. The goalkeepers the last 2 weeks has kept the scorelines respectable. That can't keep happening. So Rennes team total over 2.5 goals at -108. I think that is a fantastic price. I think that's won by half time, personally.
Wow.
So, and I'm going to take that. I'm also going to take their team total over 4.5 at +650, because I think there's a massive chance it could be a huge battering. I'd rather take the team total than the handicap, because Troyes have had a knack of scoring goals recently. Not that they deserve them, but they do have a couple of attackers like Mama Bolde who are worth.
Yeah.
You got to give them a little bit of respect, and they'll try a few shots. So. Right. No guarantee with a clean sheet for Rennes, so I'd rather be the team total. They beat Angers 4-2 last time, for example. So if you're conceding 2 goals against Angers, there's a concern. I've got one other play for the game. I've just actually added it late. This is a defender, anytime score, Arthur Thitre. Anytime score at +900. He's only got 3 goals on the season, but he's an absolute menace from set pieces. If you watch him, he's so good in the air. He probably should have scored 7 or 8 goals this season. I've noticed that Troyes are just horrendous at defending in any capacity, but especially terrible at defending corners. And this guy may well get on the end of one of these corners.
Say his name again. It rolls off the tongue really well. With your British.
Yeah, Arthur Thitre. It's a difficult pronunciation, actually. But if I've actually spelt him bloody wrong. There's no R in there, but it caught my eye when I saw his name at basically 9-1. I thought, let's get him on side here, because he loves to try and score a goal from corners, and they just might switch off completely. They don't care anymore, Troyes. They genuinely don't give a flying fuck anymore about football this season. And when teams get like this, inevitably a massive beating will sometimes occur. So let's hope.
Especially if you, like you said, Rennes is a team that likes to start the beating and not stop. So sounds like a pretty good concoction.
If you look back at the last 2 seasons, Rennes scores, there are several really big beatings. And they're just one of them sides that when they get going, they just don't want to stop. They rack up the score, which is sometimes seen as a bit of a nasty thing to do, isn't it, in sport?
Yeah. Well, I'm an SEC college football fan, right? So you have that goes on all the time. You have like teams beating poor teams like 63-3 or something. It is brutal, but if you find an angle to bet it and take advantage of it, you might as well. Yeah, Marcel saying that just saw the Lens result. I was on them, Marcel, -0.75, and man, they were down 0-1 and had a red card. So I thought that was dead in the water. I'm super thankful to get a half cash out of that. So I'm actually proud of them for sticking it out and playing tough. And I really wish Opinda would have taken that penalty kick. Would have been nice, since I was on him to score for half a unit. But yeah, happy with the result. So I won't whine about Opinda.
Yeah, it was a great win for them, I must say. Give big credit to them. But yeah, certainly for me, in the French card, Rennes to win the game or team total. If you really want to be safe, you could play the handicap -1.5. But I really think they're going to, or the goal line overall as well. You could look at that over 3, over 3.5. That really stood out like a sore thumb. So I think that's it, Ashley, for the show. All I picked loads of picks that you get stuck into there, especially for Saturday. Thanks to anyone who joined live or if you're watching on demand. And appreciate all your thoughts and comments and all the words of encouragement. So I don't know if you got anything to add there, Ashley.
No, I just want to say thanks to everybody for hanging out with us on a Friday here. Hopefully we have a great weekend. Lots of interesting matchups for the weekend. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm expecting some sparks to fly in some of these matches, hopefully.
Let's hope it's a sizzling weekend. Best of luck, anyone, whatever you're taking this weekend around the world, whatever sport. And
Hannah said to you, thanks, gorgeous.
Thank you indeed, Hannah, for your great support on the show. Marcel and Sunny, take care as well. Anyone else that's still around watching. But until next time, I'm not exactly sure. I think we should be back in midweek because it's the return Champions League games and stuff. Yep. So keep your eyes peeled for All Angle Sports Investment. See you around.
Good luck.